Taddanam satvikam shrutam. That gift which is made to one from whom no return is expected, with a feeling that it's one's duty to give, and which is given in a proper place and time and to a worthy person, that gift is held to be good. The topic of dan, donations, begins in this verse. When dan, donations are given, because one thinks that he only wants to give with absolutely no burden of expectation of return for a recipient, that the other person should keep doing things for me, he should keep being shy away from me, should remain pressed under by me, and should always have a look of gratefulness on his face when he sees me, with a feeling that it's one's duty to give. Not only that, but dan, donations that are given looking at the proper place, time and worthy person, then this is dan, donations of the mode of sattva goodness. This is called dan, donations of the mode of sattva goodness. Out of the great ideals of Indian culture, one of these great ideals is dan, donations. In each and every religion, the feelings of renunciation are there in one way or the other. Each and every person will say that you should give to others. There has not been a religion until now that tells people to snatch from others. Each and every religion has this ideal, but the deep contemplation that the Indian rishis have done about dan, donations, and its social aspects, psychological aspects, and spiritual aspects have perhaps not been done by anyone else. In other religions or in other thoughts, dan, donations just stops at the social level of give and take. But for us, it does not stop there. We have not just kept it at the social level, but we've looked at it from a psychological level and also a spiritual level. This is how much importance we have given to dan, donations. What is dan, donations? In the 7th mantra of the Shandilya Upanishad and the Jabaldi Upanishad, the definition of dan, donations, is given in a very formulaic way. Danam nama nayata jitasya dana danya dehe shraddha yarthiha prabadam. Donations are those that are collected by just means. Whatever types of donations they may be, they are given with faith and they are given to the right person. 3 things are said here. What is dan, donations? Dan, donations are firstly those that are collected by just means and where the paths of collecting wealth are pure and clean. If one has attained £1 million through wrong means and then they give donations of £100,000, then Indian rishis have not in any case stated that the other £900,000 become purified. Dan, donations are those that are earned through just means. Secondly, it is said that dan, donations are those that are given with faith. The rishis of the Taittiriya Upanishad say in the Shikshavali that Shradayasya deham, Ashradaya adeham, Shriya deham, Riya deham, Bhiya deham, Samvida deham. Give with faith, not without faith, according to your wealth, with modesty, with fear, with sympathy. Dan, donations should be given with faith. If dan, donations are not given with faith, then one does not get their fruits. If there is a car standing at the traffic lights and a person is taking his daughter's fiancé to show him one's factory, and a beggar comes to ask for something and this person would ignore the beggar and would close his window, the beggar would be standing there banging on the windows. Then this person would think that, what have I done? This beggar has come to me and I've closed the window on him. My daughter's fiancé is sitting next to me. How will he feel about this? He'll think that his father-in-law does not give anything away and is like this, that his fist is always closed. Therefore, what he does is that he opens his window and takes out a £5 note to give to the beggar. He has not given this £5 note to the beggar, but to his son-in-law. The reason for this is that the reason he did this was to impress his son-in-law. If he had the feeling that he should give, then he would have given from the beginning. It is absolutely not my intention to say that you should give money to all beggars that are standing by a window when the car is at stationary traffic lights. But what I mean to say is that one should think that they should give, and one should give with a feeling that they want to give. One should give with faith. One should not give without faith. People give through blind faith, through venom, or through fear. Our rishis did say in the Shikshavali of the Taittiriya Upanishad that one should give with fear. One should give according to the amount of wealth they have. Everybody has always been confused about the question of how much wealth they should give. The scriptures show us a simple and straightforward route. They have said that we should give away 10% of our wealth. We should give away 1/10 of our wealth. This is in every religion. In Christianity, there is a concept of teething. If a person is earning £100 every day, then they should give away £10 every day. If a person is earning £1,000 every day, then he should give £100 every day. the person is earning £10,000 every day, then they should give away £1,000 every day. People say that giving away £1,000 every day feels like a big burden to them. Does not earning £10,000 a day feel like a big burden? If you do not want to give, then it does not matter. Instead of giving 10% every day, give 5% every day and give £500. At least that should be given, but people have difficulties even giving this. Dhan donations should be given with faith. Dhan donations should be given according to one's wealth. That is why Hindu Dharma and Sanatan Dharma is so great that even the poorest of all people can be put into practice, and a king can also put it into practice. The rule of giving is very straightforward. One should give away 10% of their wealth, and that is it. Many years ago, Guruji met a person after a long time. He went to his house before he came to his Guruji's discourse. He had written a cheque with the amount, but he had not written who it was from and had left this part of the cheque blank. Guruji told him that he should not give it to him, and told him that no, the reason why I'm giving this blank cheque to you is because in all these good activities you're doing, where you feel that it is good to give, then give it this there. Guruji told him, I do not need it because in the activities that I do, everything that is needed just comes and happens because of the grace of God. He told Guruji not to say no. He told Guruji that many years ago he used to go to listen to the discourses of Pujya Pandurram Shastriji, and from then he kept a rule on Ekadashi, which is the holy 11th day of the lunar fortnight, that when 2 Ekadashis come each month, he had a rule after listening to Dada's discourse many years ago that he had been obeying for the last 30 or so years, that the earnings he had made from 2 days a month is given for Satkarma, divine acts. 2 Ekadashi come a month, and therefore out of whatever wealth he has, according to 7% of the calculation of 2 days a month, his earnings on the 2 days of Ekadashi each month are donated for the activities of God and are good deeds. This is a rule that he's obeyed. Guruji told him that this is good, I'll use it for good purposes during my discourse in Haridwar. What I mean to say is that this is Dhan, donations. Dhan donations should be given according to one's wealth. 30 years ago his earnings must have been X rupees, and he would have given 10% of this amount as Dhan donations. Today his earnings have grown from X rupees to Y rupees because of God's grace, and he now gives away 10% of this as Dhan donations. This is Dhan donations, and I've deliberately not given his name because that was his own wish and that he's performing Satkarma, divine acts. Even the most ordinary of ordinary people can do this, and the wealthiest of wealthy people can do this. There is no bondage. Each and every person can give Dhan donations according to the wealth they have. There's a very nice story in the Buddhist religion. In the town, a temple of the Buddha was being built. Each and everybody had the wish that the idol would be made out of gold. Each and every person in a town had gathered and were asked to give bits of gold so that everybody's gold would be gathered and a nice idol of God would be built. The people in the town had gathered together. The people doing service in order to build the temple gave speeches to the people and then said that the people are living with the bags and that everybody should give what they want to give. Some people took off their jewelry and put it into the bag. Some people gave their bangles, some people gave their necklaces, and some people gave what they could give. When the people with the bags were going around, there was a very poor beggar in the town standing there. The bag would not go to her, and she said, "Brother, bring the bag here. I wish to give because an idol of Buddha is being made." The person took the bag to her, and this woman did not have anything made of gold, but she had bronze because coins were made of bronze in ancient times. She had kept it safe and put it in the bag. The person took the bag around, got very angry and said, "Did you not know that an idol of God is being made? Why are you putting bronze into this?" The idol was created, and when the couple was being lifted, then the feeling that should have come from the face of the idol did not come. Everybody thought that no, an idol should not be like this because an idol should be so beautiful. The compassion of Buddha should be radiating from the face of the idol. Once again they put more material into the idol and changed it 5 to 7 times, but the feeling that they needed did not come. A great saint that had come there was told that they were making a lot of efforts but nothing was happening and was asked why. The great saint looked at the idol in concentration, and when he saw, then he realized. The great saint said that someone in his town was wishing to give a right amount of her wealth to build this idol, and this was rejected. That is why these feelings are not coming to this idol of Buddha. The people in the town began thinking that we reject someone who is coming to give donations. We have never done anything like this, where someone had come to give and we rejected them. When all the organizers got together, and one of them remembered that one woman beggar had come and she was offering bronze, but I threw it at her and rejected it, they told him to go and bring it back. That organizer went to the beggar and asked, "Sister, we need your bronze in order to build the idol." That woman had still preserved the bronze, and she became very pleased and gave it to them, saying, "Have this and build the idol with this." The whole idol was made out of gold, and when this piece of bronze was put in the idol, by heating it and mixing it with the gold, then when the finished idol was revealed, then the idol had been made so beautifully, and the feelings on the face of Lord Buddha were so beautiful. And the biggest miracle of all was that the bronze that the woman beggar had given came exactly at the chest of the idol of Lord Buddha. This was a special feeling. Whatever donation the most ordinary of all people gives can still be very valuable. The amount is not important, the value is important, and the feelings in the heart are necessary. The rishis of the Upanishads say that one should give according to the amount of wealth they should have. They also say that one should give with modesty and blushingly. One should not have fear of pity of other people. Indian culture is such that only collecting money is not important, but using money in the right path is important. Here we have stories of charitable people. Here importance has never been given to people who just collect wealth. Donations should be given with fear. What type of fear is this? This is the fear that if I do not make the right use of the wealth that I have today, then the people coming after me will make the wrong use of it, and I will become an accomplice to the sins that arise as a result of their misuse of wealth. This is called giving with fear. If you give wealth into the hands of somebody, then you're giving them a lot of power. Many people say that we are gathering a lot of money through our hard work, and we did not get the time to use it. Therefore, after we go, you should do this, and child, you should do that. Oh, clever person, it is wealth that you have done, so why don't you use it? They say that wealth cannot leave their hands. If the wealth that you have earned cannot leave your hands, then will it leave the hands of your children? And that for you? This is impossible. One should give away wealth themselves. Wealth should be given away, preserving the recipient's pride. Whoever we're giving money to, we should not make them dependent, and we should not put pressure on them. That is why, again, meaning in culture is said that we bow down to the people to whom we give wealth. There is no doubt about the fact that the giver is great, but the recipient of the donations is greater than the giver of donations. This is because the giver only gives wealth, whereas the recipient of wealth gives punya, the opposite of sins. Why have you given away the wealth that you have? This is because you know that if you give away donations, then you will attain punya. This means that punya is greater than the wealth, and that is why you're giving up wealth in order to take punya. If wealth was greater, then why would you leave your wealth? Punya is greater than wealth, and that is why you have taken it. Therefore, if someone takes small things and gives big things, then how great must this person be? One cannot deny that the giver is great, but the recipient of punya is greater than the giver. The recipient is more important, and that is why we bow down to them. That is why in the Shandilya Upanishad and the Jabali Upanishad, the definition of donations, is given that danam nama nayas chitta dana danyatehe shadayartiha pradanam. Donations are those that are collected by just means, whatever types of donations they may be, that are given with faith, and they are given to the right person. The third part of the definition of dan is that they are given to the right person. Even here, Shri Krishna says in the Gita that donations of the mode of sattva, are those that are given in a proper place and time and to a worthy person. It is important that you give donations according to what is needed in the place that the person's in. If you go to the North Pole or to Alaska and give a fridge to someone, then what will the person do with it? Therefore, you should look at the other person before giving the dan. If a person is living in the equator and you give the person a heater saying that take this as dan from us, then it's of no use to them. Whatever is needed by a person in the place he is in should be given. This is place, which is the first thing mentioned. Place can have many different meanings. If you have given something in one place, then you'll be given a lot of respect, and if you give the same thing in another place, then you will not be given much respect. You should look at the traditions of the place. You should look at the culture of the place. Those people who travel to many different countries learn about the different cultures of different countries. If we consider something to be the best awards gift, articles, then if one gives that thing to another place, then they would be considered stupid. They should not give that thing in that place. If a person has a shore, given a shore in the big towns of India, then the people in the big towns of India would say it's a good thing, and pride and respect is given because a shore was offered to someone. But if you go to the villages, for example, the villages of the Saurashtra region of Gujarat, then if people are offered shawls, then they have frowns on their faces. Why is this? They say that people only give us shawls after someone has gone. That if you go there and give someone a shawl, then you should first ask whether it's a thing of pride there if someone is given a shawl. The poor people may get offended because of it. During one discourse in Gujarat, a person came and put a garland of sandalwood around Guruji. And Guruji's paternal aunt was sitting there. She was from the villages and was surprised that they had given him a garland of sandalwood as if he was an idol. This is village talk. Guruji told his paternal aunt why she was worrying. He told his paternal aunt that in these cities garlands of sandalwood are taken with pride. Guruji's poor paternal aunt could not understand why he was given a garland of sandalwood. What I mean to say is that donations of the mode of sattva, goodness, are those that are given in a proper place and time and to a worthy person. One should give after thinking about what is needed in which place. Giving is an art. Second, one should look at the time before giving donations. It should be given according to the right time. Just like time keeps passing, the types of donations that are given should keep changing. People say that right from the time when our grandfathers held Satyanarayan discourses, we've always been giving 11 rupees. The time has changed so much. Does the donation not change with the time? They say that this has been running for a long time and we do not leave traditions. Is this a tradition? One should look at the right place and the right time before making donations. Donations should also be given to a worthy person. We should look at the person to whom we're giving donations. We should give a person donations according to their qualifications. Otherwise, it can be insulting to people many times. If there is a wedding of a daughter of a millionaire, then if you give a jewelry worth 11 rupees, then will this not feel like an insult? Rather than that, it is better not to give anything. One should give donations according to the person. Therefore, donations is an art. One should give donations to a worthy person. There are very beautiful verses in Sanskrit that Supatra dana cha bhavet danabhyo dana pravadena karoti punyam. Punya prabhavena punatabhya punardhananya punareva dani. If a person gives donations to a worthy person, then he becomes wealthy. When he becomes wealthy, then he performs meritorious deeds. And by performing more and more meritorious deeds, then he becomes wealthier and wealthier. And by becoming wealthier and wealthier, he gives more and more donations to other people and his wealth keeps increasing. If a person gives donations to a worthy person, then he becomes wealthy because he gets much more in return than what he gave. This whole cycle keeps running where he earns more and more wealth and he gets more and more donations to worthy people. And on the other side, Kupata dana cha bhavet daridro, daridra doshena karoti papam, punara daridri punareva papi. When a person gives donations to an unworthy person, then he becomes impoverished. Because of poverty, he performs sinful deeds. Because of incurring more and more sins, he becomes more and more impoverished. When a person gives donations to an unworthy person, then it's not as if it's forgotten. In fact, he becomes impoverished. Because of poverty, this person performs sinful deeds. He thinks that I do not have money and therefore I will get it by borrow or steal. I need it in any way possible. Therefore, he does not even hesitate before committing sinful deeds. Because of incurring more and more sins, he becomes more and more impoverished. And because of this, he falls into the cycle of becoming more and more impoverished by incurring more and more sins. It's very important to whom we're giving donations. We should give donations to a worthy person. In the Shanti Parva of the Mahabharata, it is said that in the Satya Yuga, the first age, tap austerities were considered great. In the Treta Yuga, the second age, Gnan, wisdom, was considered great. In the Dwapar Yuga, the third age, Yagna, was considered great. And in the Kali Yuga, the fourth age and the age of vice, the current age, only donations are considered great. In the Satya Yuga, the first age, a person who performed tap austerities attained a lot of punya, the opposite of sins. In the Treta Yuga, the second age, a person who walked on the path of Gnan, wisdom, attained a lot of punya. In the Dwapar Yuga, the third age, a person who performed yagna attained a lot of punya. But in the Kali Yuga, the fourth age and the age of vice, donations attain the most amount of punya. The main religion of use is shama, controller of the inner being and the senses. The main religion of people between the ages of 51 and 75 is niyam, rules. When a person goes past the age of 50 to turn 51 and 52, then niyam, rules, should come into their lives. This is the main religion, niyam. And the main religion of people over the age of 75 is dan, donations. They must do this. There's a saying that I like very much, Utpadita sukha yami yama dita tonuja tate nava yatita pagani khalu shriti anyascha sangamava titascha parastri tatya gabho mano sudhi yo bhavanti. Wealth can come in three ways. If you gave birth to wealth, then it is your daughter. If your ancestors left wealth for you, then it's your sister. And if neither you or your ancestors have given birth to wealth, then it's an adulteress. All of these women need to be given up in any case. You cannot keep wealth to yourself. Only if a person who gives away wealth can be considered intelligent. You cannot keep wealth. Why? You can have three relations with wealth. What are these? If someone asks a person how he attained wealth, then he would say that I earned it, or I gave birth to it. Really? If you have given birth to wealth, then it would be your daughter. How long can you keep a daughter sitting in the house? 20 years? 22 years? 25 years? Then slowly and slowly you have to get her married. In the same way, you have to get Lakshmi, wealth, married. If he says that his grandparents or his parents have left him the wealth, then wealth is your sister. And you cannot keep your sister sitting there. You have to get your sister married when the time comes. If neither you nor your father have given birth to wealth, and wealth has come from somebody else, then wealth is an adulteress, and you cannot keep her in the house. When a neighbor comes to the house at 2 p.m. and sits there and keeps talking and talking and talking, and it becomes 4 p.m., 6 p.m. and 7 p.m., then it turns down, then the person who is cultured with folded hands will say that, sister, now you should go. I have some respect in society and I want to keep it. Even with another woman, you cannot keep her seated there. There is no fourth way apart from these three. An intelligent person would want to get each of these women married. If the woman is one's daughter, then one would want to get the daughter married when she turns a certain age. If a woman is one's sister, then one would want to get her married when she reaches a certain age. And if the woman is an adulteress, then you have to say goodbye to her sometime and tell her to leave. You cannot keep these in any case. Lakshmi, wealth, can only take three routes. Only a person who renounces all three is intelligent. Lakshmi, wealth, comes in order that we can give dan, charity. The beauty of Lakshmi, wealth, is through dan, charity. People say that we want to give, but we will only give when fortunate circumstances will come. There is a very beautiful verse with the scriptures, where the scriptures say that you must give when fortunate circumstances come. Anukule vibhav deyam yata pureta harahi. When everything is beginning to go right, then you should certainly give, and the more that you give, then the more that God will keep for you. The word hari is used very nicely here. When everything is going right, then you should certainly give, and the more that you give, and the more that hari, God will keep it for you. This is because God preserves things for you and is a giver of wealth. People say that no, fortunate circumstances have not arisen, and the circumstances are not so good, and therefore we will not give due to a lack of fortunate circumstances. The scriptures say that pratikule vibhav deyam yata sarvam harishyati. Even if circumstances are there, you should give donations, because once you lose your life, then you lose everything and nothing will remain. Before everything goes, you should give away as much as possible to attain as much punya as possible. Everything will go. Dan, donations, is a very big thing. In the Athur Veda, there is a very beautiful mantra that Shahasta Samahara Sahasra Hasta Samkira. You should work hard with 100 hands and collect and attain things while rejoicing, and you should give with 1,000 hands and while also rejoicing. Look how great the thoughts of the Vedas are. You should collect wealth with 100 hands, and you should give away wealth with 1,000 hands. This is a very famous quote from the Bible, that one who gives has it showered down on him, and one who holds on to it has it snatched away from them. This is dan, donations. These are the three types of these dan, donations. The first is dan, donations of the mode of sattva, goodness, which we have seen. The second are dan, donations of the mode of rajas, passion. And the third are dan, donations of the mode of tamas, dullness. It is good to stop at dan, donations of the mode of sattva, goodness, but we will continue with dan, donations of the mode of sattva, goodness, of the mode of rajas, passion, and dan, donations of the mode of tamas, dullness. In the next verse, God will show us what dan, donations of the mode of rajas, passion, are. Yattu pratyu